Hello friend, do you know the biggest threat to our society in the recent year? That is Alzheimer's disease. The neurodegenerative disorder is not just challenging for the people who are suffering with this but also emotionally draining for their loved one. In 2019, it cost about 2.8 trillion. According to experts, it could skyrocket to 16.9 trillion by 2050. These numbers are not just about the money. It represents a massive toll global health. Friends, as we get older, our brain naturally undergoes changes, with some areas shrinking and others trying to compensate. However, in Alzheimer's disease, these changes speed up. These changes affect crucial regions but this progression varies among individuals, and that can be influenced by various factors such as genetics, lifestyle, and environment. So in this video, we will try to understand the mystery of the brain, aging, and the Alzheimer's disease. We will also discuss cool technique called longitudinal elastic shape analysis, or LESA in short for the brain imaging. So what happens in the brain with the Alzheimer's disease? My friend, Alzheimer's disease is a condition characterized by change in the brain and that affect memory and the thinking. In Alzheimer's disease, abnormal protein accumulate in the brain cell, disrupting the normal functioning of brain. Eventually, these brain cells die and lose their connection. These changes can lead to difficulties recalling information, impairing problem solving and critical thinking abilities. Let's look at the Alzheimer's disease first. The Alzheimer's disease is one of the most impactful age-related neurodegenerative diseases. This is recognized for causing change in the brain structure, especially in the hippocampus and the lateral ventricles. This disease is marked by the buildup of two abnormal proteins in the brain, that is amyloid beta, which forms the plaque, and the tau, which forms tangle. These plaque and tangle disrupt the normal function of neurons, leading to their eventual death and the loss of connection between brain cells. The symptom of the Alzheimer's disease typically develop slowly and get worse over the time. Early symptoms may include poor memory, problem in remembering new information, and challenges with planning or problem solving. As the disease progresses, individuals may experience confusion, disorientation, and changes in behavior and their personality. In the later stage, individuals may lose their ability to communicate, recognize loved ones, and care for themselves. However, the physical and mental toll on the individuals is significant. The emotional toll on their families and caregivers is often overlooked. Can you imagine watching a loved one slowly lose their memory and abilities? Can be heartbreaking and stressful, right? So far, no cure has been found for this devastating disorder. Some treatment can help to manage symptoms and may enhance the quality of life for some individuals. But what exactly is happening in the brain during Alzheimer's disease? And how can we better understand these changes and possibly find the way to reduce impact? So despite these challenges, there is a hope. In 2023, exciting development in the neuroscience emerged, like longitudinal elastic shape analysis, that is called LESA. LESA provides a unique window into the brain, enabling scientists to observe and understand the complicated spatiotemporal changes happening in the brain region over time. Additionally, various other techniques are being developed to capture real changes in the brain during the disease condition. So let's begin by exploring how the brain changes as we age. My friend, as we become older, our brain undergoes various modifications that can affect different regions and functions. There are two key areas that are especially vulnerable to age-related disease or age-related changes. These are the lateral ventricle and hippocampus. The lateral ventricle is fluid-filled space in the brain. This space is essential for circulating cerebrospinal fluid that protect the brain cell from the injury. As the year pass, this ventricle naturally enlarge, which is mostly just a normal part of aging. However, enlargement of the lateral ventricle beyond normal size can indicate neurological disorder or brain injury. On the other hand, the hippocampus is a small curved structure located deep within the brain temporal lobes. It's a powerhouse for the processing emotions, memories, and behavior. The hippocampus, a brain region crucial for memories. This area is particularly vulnerable to age-related changes, and it's often one of the first areas affected by Alzheimer's disease. As we get older, the hippocampus may shrink and its function can decline. That leads to mild cognitive impairment. This condition involves mild changes in memory and thinking that exceed what is considered normal for one's age. It's important to note that not all age-related brain changes are harmful or signify a disease. In fact, some changes may represent the brain's ability to adapt and compensate for the age-related decline in the certain brain areas. For example, with the aging, the brain may recruit additional region or network to help compensate for the declining function in specific areas. This fascinating process is called cognitive reverse. This is sort of backup system that can preserve the cognitive ability even as age-related changes take place in the brain. Now let's discuss how changes in the brain shape can impact in disease conditions. So my friend, as we get older, our brain undergo natural changes over time. But Alzheimer's disease speed up and intensify these changes, especially affecting regions such as hippocampus and lateral ventricle. In Alzheimer's disease, the hippocampus take an early hit. It reduce and shrink. This part of the brain is crucial for memory, as I mentioned before, because of its dense network of neurons. As the disease progresses, the hippocampus continue to shrink and its function become gradually impaired. This can lead to more severe memory problems as well as difficult with spatial navigation and orientation. Alzheimer's disease does not just impact the hippocampus, it can also affect the region like a lateral ventricle. This part of the brain can enlarge due to weakening tissue, a condition called ventriculomegaly. Imagine this: the brain ventricle, which are normally small, fluid-filled space, can expand, putting the pressure on surrounding areas. This enlargement disrupts the flow of cerebrospinal fluid and can worsen cognitive decline in Alzheimer's disease. Now let's talk about this cool technique called longitudinal elastic shape analysis, in short LESA. It helps the scientists study how the brain changes over time. They can see the things like a hippocampus shrinking or the lateral ventricle growing. These changes offer valuable clues about the progression of the Alzheimer's disease, helping scientists unlock its mystery. In a new study using LESA, the researcher at the University of North Carolina at Chapel Hill, USA, discovered that the brain changes actually began much earlier than previous thought, sometime as young as 30. One of the articles about LESA published on UNC website stated that the new research uncovered link between neurodegenerative disease and changes in the brain shape. These changes increases after the age of 60, especially in individuals with Alzheimer's disease. People with Alzheimer's had even more severe brain changes compared to those without this disease. The study also investigated genetic factors highlighting ApoE as a gene associated with the increased risk of developing Alzheimer's. Apolipoprotein E is a gene that increases the risk of developing Alzheimer's disease and other types of dementia. So people with this gene mutation had more severe brain changes. This research helps us understand how aging, Alzheimer, and genetic all play a part in our brain changes over time. And the more we know, the better we can fight against Alzheimer and other brain problems as we get older. So thank you for joining me today. I hope our conversation has sparked your interest in neurodegenerative diseases. If you are curious to learn more, stay tuned for the future insight into the mysteries of brain aging and Alzheimer's disease. Thanks again and see you in the next video.